Hare Krishna, my Dandavat pranams to everyone. Haribol. Although the 12th of April, Friday, 2024. And we're sitting in Dandavat Jai. Radha Govinda Ju Ki Jai. Haribol, Haribol. So we're in Radhakund and we're making our way towards the eligibility, the adhikar for Gopi Gita. And we're scrolling through the Bhagavatam. So yesterday we reached the rainy season. So we're going on from the rainy season, chapter 20. So today we'll cover Venu-gita and Prayagita. Okay, we'll have a kirtan first. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari O Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Shodanand Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari O Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari O Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ramo Ramo Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ramo Hare Ramo, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ramo Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, oh, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ramo Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Nitai Gauda Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gauda Hari Bol, Nitai Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai. Oh Jaya Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Oh Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radha, Govinda Radha, Govinda Radhe. Jaya Radha, Gopinata Radha, Gopinata Radhe. Jaya Radha, Vinod Vihari Radha, Vinod Vihari Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Oh Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Shri Shri Guru Garanga Ganhavika Giridhari. Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Shri Radha Govinda Ju Ki Jai, Radha Gopinath Ju Ki Jai, Radha Vinod Vihari Ju Ki Jai, Nityananda Rai Ki Jai, Satchinandana Gauda Hari Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasara Shishimad, Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasara Shishimad, Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasara Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarazara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gauri Kishodas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Vaishnav Sabhavoma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Baladevi Dibhushan Gaudi Varantaracharya Ki Jai. Jai Rasik Siramani Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Nartam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Traya Ki Jai. Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Pata Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopal Varadasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai. Jai Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gauda Parsada Ki Jai. Namacharya Shilharadas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sigahosi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Shri Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Antadweep Mayapur Simantadweep Gautramdweep Madhyadweep Koladweep Ritujit Janadweep Motamdweep Rudradweep Atmaka Navadweep Dham Ki Jai. Bandiravan, Baduravan, Belvan, Lohavan, Mahavan, Madhuvan, Talvan, Kamudvan, Bahulavan, Vrindavan, Kadyavan, Kamyavan, Brajamandal Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dwadasavardhamapnika Shri Brajamandal Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kun Shama Kun Ganga Jamuna Devi Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Brinda Devi Maharani Ki Jai. Shri Punamasi Devi Maharani Ki Jai. Shri Gopishwa Mahadev Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Ki Jai, Ketra Mandal Ki Jai, Sarva Vigna Vinasakari Shina Shingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai, Bhakta Pravar Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai, Charidam Ki Jai, Chari Sampradaya Ki Jai, Charya Ki Jai, Akara Mataraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai, Shri Keshav Ji Gaudiya Mat Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Grantaraj Shrimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Bhatta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gauda Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Om Aginati Mirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Priya Surupe Daita Surupe Prema Surupe Sahajabirupe Nijanarupe Prabhueka Rupe Tatana Rupe Swavilasa Rupe Anapita Chirim Chirat Kuruna Vartino Kalo Samarapaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundarata Dikatamba Satipita Sadahradare Kandare Spuratu Vasachinandanaha Yam Prabhajantamana Paityam Apaiti Krityam Dvaipayano Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Mayatayo Tarabo Binidustam Sarvabhutam Hridim Munimanatosmi Bhaktiya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Taranga Madhye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanaravindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Varadram Tato Mamanasti Katyana Kapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarazara Shishimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions and millions of times unto our beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarazara Shishimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada, and all our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Varga, and all the Vaishnav and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vancha kalpa turubhyascha, kripa sindhuvevacha, patitanam papnibhyo Vaishnave namo namaha. So today we're continuing our journey towards the crest jewel of all pastimes in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And as in previous days, we've begun this journey with a appreciation and understanding of something towards Srila Gurudev. Without Guru Nishta, absolutely nothing auspicious can ever transpire without understanding this point. So this is exemplified by Nityananda Rai. Nityananda Rai is Akhanda Guru Mula Tattva in his demonstration of service to Krishna, his bhakti to Krishna. Nityananda is that personality who is manifesting all the jivas, all the different planetary systems, etc. This is all coming ultimately, the ultimate energy is Swarup Shakti, but it's coming through this Sandini Shakti. Try to understand this point clearly. Nityananda Prabhu is the Ishtadev of the Sandini Shakti, but the Shakti itself is originating from Swarup Shakti, from Sri Radha. All Shakti comes from Radha. Radha Purna Shakti, Krishna Purna Shaktiman. Dui Vastu Heta Vai Shastra Praman. So everything is manifesting ultimately from Swarup Shakti. So I just want to read something briefly here just to support this point so we get it clear, because it's an important point about Nityananda and the Sandini Shakti. Sometimes devotees they think that the Sandini Shakti is manifesting from Nityananda. He's the Ishtadev of Sandini Shakti. The Shakti itself is manifesting from Swarup Shakti. So all the pastime places, etc., in Braj are manifesting from this Sandin Shakti. So in the 14th chapter of Jayavadama, Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes this incredible point. He says, from the Sanvit Vritti of Swarup Shakti, always Swarup Shakti is the principal origin of the energy, manifests all the various moods of the relationships, Sambandha Bhavs, within Braj. So everything is manifesting, the moods, the feelings are coming from the Sangvit Shakti. We need to know or be familiar with or hear regularly what is Shakti Tattva to understand who is Sri Radhika. We're about to go to that place of the most transcendental chapter practically in the whole of the Srimad Bhagavatam, this Gopi Gita, and we need to know the potency. We need to know the essence of this personality, because all the gopis, everyone is all manifesting. They're all Radhika's Kaya Vyuha. So where are they? What is the nature of that Kaya Vyuha? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining here. Sandini manifests everything in Braj. Sandini means existence, the existence potency. But Nityananda is the Ishtadev of that potency. That potency has its origin in Swarup Shakti. Understand? That's where it's coming from. So, huh? Yes. Yes, you can say like that. Sandini manifests everything in Braj that consists of water, earth, and so on, such as the villages, forests, gardens, and Giriraj Govardhan. Is all manifest. I'm saying this point to support our understanding of Nityananda as the principal example, the first example of what is devotion, what is bhakti to Krishna. This is what he's demonstrating. What is bhakti? This is why he's a Kand Guru Mula Tattva. Guru is the same as that, the same mood. He's taking us to the kingdom of bhakti. So Nityananda, in his service as the Ishtadev of the Sandini Shakti, is managing, we can say, or manifesting all of these aspects of the Sandini Shakti. But its origin is in Swarup Shakti. You get the picture? You understand? Understand? We need to hear it many times, but let me finish reading here. It's good. So Giriraj Govardhan is manifesting from that Sandini Shakti, which are places of Krishna's pastime. It also manifests all other transcendental objects used in Krishna's pastimes, as well as the transcendental bodies of Sri Radhika, Sri Krishna, and the Sakas and Sakis, cows, dasas, dasis, and so on. So all the bodies, anything that has existence, must be manifesting from this existence potency, which is the Sandini Shakti. So this Sandini Shakti is the principle. It's the fundamental platform for all existence coming from this. And this is embodied within the mood or the personality of Nityananda Rai. And he is the personification of Guru, that Nityananda element. So it comes from here. And then what does Nityananda do? We've been describing it every single day. Nityananda will bring us to the lotus feet of Sachinanda and Gaura Hari. Nityananda is not distributing Braj Bhav. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is distributing Braj Bhav. We need to have these aspects clear. Otherwise, we could just deviate. So this Siddhanta must be clear. So Nityananda is bringing us to the lotus feet of Sachinandana. Sachinandan Gaura Hari, he's taking us to Braj. He's giving us Braja Prem. He's giving us not only Braj Prem, he's giving us service, Swabhakti Shriyam, to that Unnata Ujjvala Ras, to that speciality of bliss that he wanted to experience. Only Mahaprabhu, only Krishna wants that Unnata Ujjvala Ras. He wants to taste that, and he's giving us service to it. That Swabhakti Shriyam in the form of Manjari Bhav. This is what we've described every evening. But today I was adding the extra aspect of the tattva about Nityananda and representing the Sandini Shakti, because this is very pivotal to understand the broader picture. We're going through the whole of the Bhagavatam. The whole of the Bhagavatam has so many truths within it. It's so weighty with all tattvas and siddhantas. So we need to have the something of the complete picture, the parameters. So now from Mahaprabhu manifesting through the agency again of Sri Radhika, Swarup Shakti, all our Guru Varga. All our Guru Varga are manifesting from Sri Radhika in the form of manjaris, so that Mahaprabhu's mission, we can say, or gift of Manjari Bhav will be successful. We cannot have this Manjari Bhav without a Manjari to give it to us. It's like if you want Sakhi Bhav, there must be a Sakhi who is going to give you that Sakhi Bhav. Similarly, with Manjari Bhav, the gift of Mahaprabhu, that can only come from a Manjari. It's very simple, really. It's not complex at all. But it makes us appreciate who are these personalities who are sitting in our Guru Vargya. Understand? Who is Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari? Who is Sanatan Goswami, Lavanga Manjari? Who is Jiva Goswami, Vilasa Manjari? All the different personalities. So we've described this every day. So this is our foundation. This is where we are. This is what is giving us the adhikar, the qualification to actually enter into these higher subject matters of the Rasa Tattva section, or the Rasa Lila ultimately. We need to have the qualification bestowed upon us, given to us. We are not qualified without that. Absolutely not. So this is depending on our Guru Nishta ultimately. Everything is going to be depending on there. If that Guru Nishta is weak, then there's no way that Krishna can invite us within that place of the hearing, or hearing with great faith, the precepts of Krishna's esoteric pastimes in Vrindavan. So now we've been scrolling through the whole Bhagavatam daily. And I think it's been very worthwhile just to go through these cantos very briefly, just to become familiar with the platform. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumato Nata. This is the platform. This is the backbone for our journey, is the platform of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Have no doubt about it. Mahaprabhu would hear the Bhagavatam daily from Gadadhar Pandit at the Tota Gopinath temple. Mahaprabhu loved the Bhagavatam so much. All our acharyas speak from the Bhagavatam. That's the foundation, that's the basis. So we discussed a number of times this from the first verse, the Mangalacharyan verse, Janmadhyasya yata nivyat itaratash kartesheshu abhignat swarat, etc., down to Satyam Paramadimahi. And then what is the Satyam Paramadi? What is the highest truth to meditate on? It's not the Brahman. The Brahman is there, and a person reading the Bhagavatam can enter into that path if he wishes, because it's there within the Bhagavatam. It must be there. Everything is there. But from the Brahman, the first explanation of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, comes the second is Narayan, Lakshmi Narayan. So now there's form to worship, Vaikuntha form. And then there's Radha and Krishna, and then there's meeting and separation, and then there's Bhakti Devi herself. So these 5 steps, I'm saying it regularly, to make a significant impression that we can embrace these precepts fully and know its magnitude, know its enormity on the scale of the absolute truth. Krishna is giving us the absolute truth in this form of the Bhagavatam, and our acharyas are opening it out to show us how amazing, how wonderful is this Bhagavatam. So we come through the first canto, and as we've described yesterday and before, these 19 chapters are basically Sambandha Gyan. Actually, the first 9 cantos are Sambandha Gyan. But in the first canto in particular, all the different personalities are brought to life. Vidura is there, Narad is there, the 5 Pandavas are there, Parikshit Maharaj is there, Krishna is there himself. In the 11th and 12th chapter, there's meeting and separation there. Bhishma Dev is there. All these different personalities are introduced to us in that first canto. And it's not something to be ignored or just put aside. They're there for a specific reason. Krishna has manifested this. As we've said many times, every page of the Bhagavatam has Krishna's footprint on it. So it's imperative for us to properly respect and acknowledge and absorb these cantos. Second canto is the introduction to Shukadeva Goswami and his prayers, particularly in the 4th chapter we've described, demonstrating his own nishta towards Krishna. And then the Chatushloki is there in the 9th chapter of the 2nd canto. And then the 10 topics are described in the 10th chapter of the 2nd canto. So get the picture, get the consistency of the Bhagavatam. It's splendid, it's powerful. It's the place where all of these rasic truths can rest upon. So if we're familiar with this, then absorbing the higher truths will become very much more simple. If we don't know this groundwork, how will we sit comfortably in a position to absorb the higher truths? It'll be just bogus. It'll be just make-believe, imitation. It won't be anything. So these principal truths have to be there. Then the 3rd canto, these talks between Vidura and Maitreya and Varaha, manifestation, Varahadev, and then Kapila Devahuti Sangvad is there in the 3rd canto. Most glorious canto. And as I've said every day, Bhagavatam really begins in the 3rd canto, the glorification of Varahadev. And then we come into the 4th canto, and we start off with that remarkable situation where Daksha insults Lord Shiva, and Virabhadra, that like a demon, goes in and smashes the whole Yagya Stali. Glorious pastime, but all glorifying Shivji, Vaishnavam Yata Shambhu. Have no doubt who is Shivji. So he's glorified in that first 7 or 8 chapters there of the 4th canto. And then we come to Dhruva Charit. And it's specifically described that Mahaprabhu would love to hear this Dhruva Charit. It's not about Vrindavan. Actually, Dhruva Maharaj, he's like a Sakam Kama Bhakta. He doesn't even come in the 5 degree levels of bhakti that Sanatana Goswami is describing. Sanatana Goswami gives these 5 levels of bhaktas. He starts off with Prahlad, then Ambarish, then Hanuman, then the 5 Pandavas, and then Uddhav. These are the gradations. Dhruva's not even in that list. He's before that list. You understand? We need to become familiar with these topics. And then we can absorb the higher topics. So then after Dhruva Charita, then it comes to Prithu Maharaj. And then after Prithu Maharaj, glorious pastime, Prithu Maharaj, most inspiring. And then we come to Paranjan in the 4th canto. Then the 5th canto, we have Priyavrata, we have Rishabde, we have Jad Bharat, we have the cosmic manifestation, we have the hellish planets, etc. Shukadeva is giving us the whole picture, the complete picture, so that we can enter into the 10th canto with great confidence. I've been going through with many groups in the world the Bhagavatam, and in all the groups, they present the chapters each week. And I'm always saying constantly that the purpose of our study is to reach the 10th canto. This is our objective. Our objective is to come to the crest jewel of all the pastimes, which is the Ras Lila pastimes. But we have to have some qualification to enter. If we just go crashing in there without proper consideration and sensitivity, then we're not going to be satisfied, and neither will our Guru Varga be satisfied. So, the 6th canto, Ajamil, Chitraketu, Vritrasura. What else in the 6th canto? Who knows? Let's say Vishwarup, yes, Vishwarup, and beautiful pastimes in the 6th canto. Indra, always getting into trouble. And then the 7th canto, Prahlad Charita, and instructions by Manu at the end. Then the 8th canto, Gajendra, and the churning of the milk ocean, and Bali Maharaj in the 8th canto. In the 9th canto, the different pastimes of the various incarnations, Ramchandra, Ambarish, Durvasa, etc., these pastimes. Actually, with our different study groups in the Bhagavatam, we encourage each other to learn the titles of each chapter. So you can lie on your bed at night and you can read you can go through all the different chapters of the Bhagavatam. How many chapters are there in the whole Bhagavatam? There's only 332, I think it is. 332. In other words, you could read one chapter a day. It's designed that way. Bhagavatam is a gift from Krishna. So if we become familiar, and our shining examples are Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami. When we read their writings, especially the Sandarbhas, literally, as I've described before, they run up and down the staircase of the Bhagavatam, pulling this point, this point, this point, this point, because it's a whole consistent, cohesive presentation of the road leading to the highest conception of devotion. We discussed in relationship to the first verse that devotion, bhakti, is the highest pinnacle that is going to be opened out in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So now we've come into the 10th canto, the kingdom of the 10th canto. In the first 5 chapters, we're still in Mathura, but this is very dramatic introduction, and it's going to depict Krishna's birth, or Krishna's manifestation rather, in Mathura. And then he's carried across the Jamuna into Braj. Now we come into Madhurya. Now, the whole point of what we've been talking about is the distinction between this Aishwarya and Madhurya. My Gurudev used to say, if we don't know this distinction clearly between Madhurya and Aishwarya, then basically we're still in the Kanishta world. We haven't actually advanced. We must know this distinction absolutely clearly. What is the nature of Madhurya? And then we will be able to appreciate it. Then we will be able to enter it with full heart. So in this, we've been through the different chapters and so on. We went through Putana, we went through Shakatasura, Trinavrata, Bakasura. We saw the Dambanda Lila, and then we crossed over the Jamuna into Chatikara. Then we came through Ral, we came to Basant, Krishna's cow grazing pastimes. He's taking the calves out. And then the Brahma Vimohan Lila, we went through that. And then we went after that, Kaliya Naga, we discussed yesterday, Kaliya Naga. And then Pralambasura is after that. And then we reached the rainy season, which is an incredible chapter, 20. And just the position of it within the Bhagavatam is splendid to appreciate. And this I've often described it like a symphony of music, and you come to like a break of the rainy season. Everything is purified. Why? Because the next 10 chapters are going to be all about the hearts of the Brajaramanis, the hearts of the gopis. It's going to go into a whole nother consideration, a whole nother mood is going to take place after the rainy season. So the first chapter is Venu-gita. Venu-gita. Krishna has three flutes. He has the Murali, he has the Venu, and the Vamsi. These three flutes, and they're all described in different places, and they all have their specialities, but they totally mesmerize every entity in existence when he plays his flute. When he plays his flute, the rivers stop flowing, the mountains melt, everything goes against its nature, principally. And the gopis are just mesmerized, entranced. And all the Brijbasis, stunned. Yes, completely stunned. And I described the other day the very beautiful description of Rupa Goswami, how when he's with Madhu Mangal and Balaram is there also at the beginning of Vidagdha Madhav, and Krishna is playing his flute and the mountains are melting, the river has stopped. And Madhu Mangal, he gives Krishna a shove, he pushes him. He says, hey, don't think it's you that's melting the rivers, it's that flute. It's not you. So he's breaking the Aishwarya. This Aishwarya has to be purified and come into the Madhurya, which is a very subtle, sensitive place of consciousness. It's not easy to understand. For conditioned souls, it takes advancement in their practice to really understand this or to really appreciate it, this distinction. But in this Madhurya Ras, there's nothing except pure affection for Brajendrananda and Shyam Sundar. So in this Venu-gita, the gopis are sitting in their homes and they're discussing, they're trying to actually cover their real feelings of affection and attraction to Krishna. They don't even want to let their best friends know how much they are attracted to Krishna. It's a secret because it challenges all of their uh, dharma. Yes, it challenges that. Their dharma is to be focused to their husbands. And for a young girl to have attraction to another boy is like really against dharma, adharma. And so this is called avahita. Avahita is when by the strength of their shyness, it covers their real feelings and bhavs. This is important to understand because Krishna, later on, he wants to smash that covering and he wants to actually hear what is really in the gopis' hearts. And the gopis are holding their real sweet moods within their hearts and they're not exhibiting them cheaply or freely. So it's a very confidential experience for the gopis. It's covered over. It's kept within the heart. And similarly, this is a lesson for us in our practice that our various experiences, if we have some particular experience while we're chanting or we're performing, it's not that we have to advertise it immediately and tell everybody how wonderful am I just had this wonderful experience. It's nothing to do with the I. It's actually about Krishna. It's actually our attraction and affection towards Krishna. So the gopis, they only have attraction and affection towards Krishna, and they're maintaining these very confidential moods within them. And in those confidential moods, they're seeing in such a loving way that all other entities love Krishna more than they do. And if we look at this Venu-gita, like in the chapter titles, for example, it goes through it. There's, 20 chapters? 20 chapters, 20 verses, 20 verses within the Venu-gita. And They're all moods of the gopis, distracted, almost divyanmad, mood towards all the other entities are able to serve and please Krishna more than they are. This is a demonstration of their extreme humility. There's not even a smell of pride in the gopis' hearts. This humility is prominent. So these verses begin with glorifications of Krishna that they're describing to each other. Bahar pita nata varapapur karaniyo karanikaram bibrad prasa asayam. This verse describing. And then akshan vatam phalam idam na paramam vidama. These early verses of Venu-gita are describing the beauty, the splendorous beauty of, they're not even describing just Krishna. They're talking about Krishna and Balaram, because again, they're trying to disguise their real attraction just for Brajendranandan. It's just so extraordinary. We're getting an introduction into the hearts of the gopis through this Venu-gita. All of a sudden, the whole dynamic has changed from Krishna's killing demons and the cowherd boys, Mother Yashoda's Vatsalya Bhav, etc. It's changed now. Shukadev? Yes, it's becoming. We're on the road now to the Gopi Gita. We're actually moving into the inner chambers of the subtle, loving feelings of the gopis. And Shukadev Goswami, who of course originally is the parrot of Sri Radhika, knows how to so sensitively present these moods and feelings. So the gopis, they're looking towards all these other, they talk about the Venu. And then in verse 10, they start to talk about the peacocks. The peacocks actually, they're considering, have more affection for Krishna than they do. And then the deer, they are able just to come to Krishna. They're able to, but the gopis aren't. The gopis are restricted by their various social conditions. They can't just run to Krishna in the forest, but the deer can. So they have a higher adhikar they're considering than the gopis. Then the demigoddesses riding in their airplanes become stunned and their clothes become loose. So they're glorifying the devas. The devas actually have more access to associate with Krishna. Then the cows, they also come so close to Krishna. They're more fortunate than us, is what they're thinking. This very humble mood, this humility is the potency for progress, we can say, in their loving exchange with Krishna. It's all, the deeper the humility, the more close is the relationship. And who is the most humble in all of existence? It's Sri Radhika. Sri Radhika is the greatest lover of the Lord, and she is the most humble. So this humility is being manifested by the gopis in this way, in this Venu-gita. And then the clouds, they're acting, and the rivers, and the birds, and the sages. All these personalities are all being considered by the gopis as to have more affection and attraction to Krishna than they have. This is something remarkable. Then the Pulindas, they smear themselves with the kumkum from Krishna's lotus feet. This is all in the 21st chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the first Gita, and this is a mood of separation. We discussed in these 5 explanations of what the Bhagavatam is about, and the 4th explanation was about meeting and separation. All of the Gitas are only about separation, every one of them. The Venu-gita is about separation. The Prayagita is about separation. The Gopi Gita is about separation. Yugal Gita is about separation. Brahmara Gita is about separation. All of these Gitas are only about separation moods, which is the udipan, which is the stimulus for the milan, for the meeting. Without the separation, then the meeting doesn't become inspired. The separation mood has to be there. Like I've described before, how in Braj itself, there are 12 hours of the day of separation, and there are 12 hours of the day of intense meeting. It's very specific. There's the Madhyana Lila, which is 5 hours. There's the Ratri Lila, which is 5 hours, and Nishanta Lila, which is approximately 2 hours. So it's approximately 12 hours. And then the Prata Lila, the Purvana Lila, Apuvarna Lila, Syayam, Pradosh, they make up the separation times when Radha and Krishna aren't directly able to associate, freed from the eyes of the elders. They can't have intimate association with each other. So this is the dynamic in Braj, this meeting and separation. So Venu-gita is about separation, and it's described as Purvarag. Purvarag is anticipation in meeting, before meeting. Although Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he describes in his commentary on this Venu-gita in the very last verses that actually the gopis, they do attain Krishna's association after this Venu-gita. They are with Krishna in secluded kunjas, etc. This is how Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes in his commentary on Venu-gita. So all of these topics are remarkable and to absorb us in essentially the loving exchanges between the gopis and Krishna. Everybody wants to hear about love. Everyone wants to experience a loving relationship. Everybody. They want to be loved. They want to love. They want to know about love. When we talk about love, everyone becomes interested. Everyone wants to try to connect with that most loving state of consciousness. The whole spiritual journey is only about love, in contrast to the conditioned world, which is practically the antithesis of that. Everyone is fighting and scrabbling, is envious, etc. It's the opposite. So when we hear about this path of love, this is the path of Shuddha Bhakti. This is the path of pure Bhakti to Krishna. And how to enter that path, how to enter that heart, how to enter that place is our whole journey of development by absorbing the moods and the instructions of our acharyas. They will carry us in. They want to take us in into that kingdom of pure love in the nature of Madhurya, this Madhurya Bhav, where we are now residing. Now we've come into this 10th, but it's upgraded now. It's gone from the first Vrindavan pastimes of Krishna's childhood pastimes, and now we've come into something quite phenomenal. This Venu-gita is carrying us into a whole nother subtle appreciation of what is love. So this Purvarag is a mood of anticipation, and it parallels with meeting. There are 4 types of separation. There is Purvarag, then there is Man, then there is Prem Vachitya, then there is Purvas. These are the 4 types of 4 types of separation. And they each parallel 4 types of meeting. There is Sankshipta, Sankiran, Sampanna, and Samriddhiman. These are the 4 types of meeting. Our acharyas are so kind, especially Rupa Goswami. He's delineated it like this to make it simple for our intelligence initially to catch this, these descriptions in some, with our intelligence to some degree. But then once they're captured, we take the intelligence away completely. That it's not needed anymore. It's like a musician. He's learning his notes to begin with. And once he's learned the notes, he never even thinks about them again. He just plays the music, etc. So this is the science, we can say, or the analysis of the rasa tattva aspect. 4 types of separation and 4 types of meeting. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Jayavadhamma explains all these beautifully in the later chapters. So then it comes to Giriraj Govardhan. Hantarya Madhira Abala Haridasavarya Yadarama Krishna Charana Sparsha Pramoda. This beautiful verse from Venu-gita. This is the chapter 8, verse 18 of Venu-gita. This is glorifying Giriraj Govardhan as Haridasavarya. That he is the greatest, greater than Uddhav, greater than Yudhisthira, who are also Haridases, but not Haridasavarya. Giriraj Govardhan is Haridasavarya. He is the greatest of all the servants of Krishna. In the time of Krishna's pastimes, Giriraj Govardhan is approximately 2 miles high. All the inhabitants, of course, are so much taller, being in Dwapara Yuga. But this is the perfect size for Krishna's pastimes to be enacted on. So Giriraj, he's giving his whole body to Krishna for performance of his pastimes. All the caves, the kunjas, etc., are all there for Krishna, and the grasses for the cows, the fruits for their picnics, etc. Everything is there, secret caves and so on. And my Gurudev has explained that there can only be one Purush in the secret caves and meeting places on Giriraj Govardhan. Therefore, Giriraj Govardhan has a third identity that we can consider. He's Giriraj, as he appears in Anayo and takes all the offerings. We can worship him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or we can worship him as the servant, Haridasavarya, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or we can worship him also as Girirani, that Saki, who in a feminine, female form will render service to Brajendrananda and Shyam Sundar, because how else could two Purushas? Huh? Yes, from the heart of Radharani. So female is there. So to consider this. So all of these aspects are begun to be brought out in the Venu-gita. What I've just spoken about for the last 10, 15 minutes is completely different to what I've spoken about previously. What I was spoken about previously was all the direct Balya Leelas and the Poganda Leelas of Krishna, and the sweetness and speciality of Mother Yashoda, Nanda Baba, etc., the Sakas, etc., in that regard. But now we've come into the realm of this remarkable relationship. The gopis, it's described by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, are the highest exhibitions of love in existence. No one has higher love than the gopis have for Krishna. Our path is to follow in the footsteps of the gopis of Braj. This is really, really beautifully brought out in the Rai Ramananda Sangvad. When we read this in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the 8th chapter, Madhya Lila, this Rai Ramananda Sangvad, when Mahaprabhu himself, Krishna, he's directly speaking to Ramananda Rai, who's Vishaka, about this loving exchange. So all of this education, so to speak, or this knowledge of rasa is at our fingertips. We just have to have the enthusiasm and the greed to absorb it and to be immersed in it. So now we come from this Venu-gita. And after the Venu-gita, Shukadev Goswami is in a completely different mood. And then he describes the pastime of Krishna stealing the clothes of the young gopis, the young 5-year-old gopis. This is an incredible pastime and must be understood clearly that the young gopis, they wanted Krishna as their husband. So Krishna makes this arrangement for them to be in a situation where they do become like his husband, where they show him their naked bodies. And Krishna is very pleased with this. He accepts them as his wives in that instance, in that pastime. So this is a very esoteric pastime. And then we have the Brahman Patnis, the wives of the Brahmins, comes after this in our flow of the Bhagavatam. And then we come into the lifting of Giriraj Govardhan, the beautiful pastime with Indradev, etc., trying to annihilate all the habit. So all of this is stimulating another consideration of what is pure love for Krishna. What is this pure bhakti? How can I love? How can I reach the supreme optimum of attraction and affection to Krishna without hearing about all these different pastimes? So this is all contained within the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then there's a pastime about another forest fire is there described. And then we come into the 29th chapter. And in the 29th chapter, we come to our remarkable Prayagita. This is the second Gita. Now the Ras Leela has begun. Krishna, he calls the gopis by the song of his flute late in the night. And these young gopis, 15, 14, 15, 16 years old, they give up everything and they run to the forest, not even dressed correctly, in their haste to meet Krishna. This demonstrates so much mood of their hearts. It's described by Kavi Kanpur that the temperature of attraction to Krishna had reached such a pinnacle, it was ready just to burst. So when Krishna played his flute, calling them, saying, "If you don't come, I will leave my body out of separation from you." This is what they heard. And that flute song was relative to every single individual gopi. It wasn't all the same what they all heard. And that flute song wasn't heard by anyone else except the gopis. It had the potency to enter just into those homes. So they gave up everything. They gave up their dharma, their chastity, their shyness, their shame. They gave everything up. And they just ran courageously into the jungle of the forest at night, late at night, alone. Every single gopi was alone. Always remember this. They didn't run as a group. They weren't all holding each other's hands for extra courage. They ran singularly, just like we walk through Sankari Court to get into Varshana. Only one person at a time can go through. So the gopis, they had their hearts set on Krishna, and they all ran completely fearlessly alone into the forest. This demonstrates so much of their attraction to Krishna. They're all encompassing attraction to Krishna. But, of course, when they actually reached Krishna, then they saw their other billions of gopis were there. But they weren't like a group in that sense. Their individual identity was very much pronounced. And then, after giving up everything for this young, beautiful boy, coming to him in the middle of the night, giving up everything that is cherished and valuable to a young girl, Krishna tells them to go home. He says, "Oh, why have you come? If you want to appreciate the moonlight in the forest, okay, you've appreciated it, now go home. Go back to your husbands." The gopis are completely distraught with these words coming from Krishna. Krishna is their beloved. All their lives he's been their beloved. They would play in the dust with each other. Their attraction to him is so complete and long-term. Actually, none of these gopis are ordinary human beings. They're all Krishna's Shaktis, all of them. But they're depicting these moods in Boma Vrindavan to show this example of absolute surrender and submissiveness to Krishna. So when Krishna tells them all to go home, again, this is a remarkable Gita, separation song, because Krishna is there in front of them. And they're expressing their separation mood in front of him. They're feeling this separation even when he's right there in front of, like in Venu-gita we've just described, they were sitting in the homes and they were remembering Krishna in Govardhan. They were remembering Krishna's pastimes. They weren't in front of him at that time. But here, they're directly in front of Krishna. So this is like a meeting in separation. It's not directly the same as Prem Vaitshitya, but it's very similar to that. And in this expression, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes that in that profound separation mood, they actually can see the entirety of Krishna's position, so to speak. They see him as the supersoul within the hearts of all, just like in Gopi Gita. This is also described in the depth of their separation. They can see him as that supreme Lord. They never believe that, but they have that vision in their separation mood, separation and meeting. So I want to read directly from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur here, just to invite us into the real depth of their mood. This Prayagita lasts for 10 verses in the 29th chapter. 10 verses are there. Expressions of the gopis, extreme lamentation, we can say, or separation from Krishna, even though they're in front of Krishna. Krishna sends them home, and yet the gopis, why does he send them home like this? Because he wants the gopis' shyness, etc., to come out. He wants to break that boundary, that wall that they're hiding. They're hiding their private feelings inside their hearts towards him. And Krishna wants to smash that out of the way and just see the real hearts of the gopis direct. He wants to purify all of that and have them come out. But the gopis are very shy. But this arrangement of Krishna, by sending them home, it brings it out. The gopis have to stand up. They have to speak out boldly towards, and they do. They eventually say, well, you are our guru, and guru must be honored first. So we must worship you first. And their words defeat Krishna, and he's defeated by them. But let me just read this portion because it amplifies the mood of this Pranaya Gita. So Shukadev Goswami said, hearing these unpleasant words spoken by Govinda, the gopis became morose. Their great hopes were frustrated, and they felt insurmountable anxiety. So this is the verse. And the commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Govinda means one who enjoys playing with words. Basitam indicates manifest verbal expression. Taking the external meaning of Govinda's words, you see, always we are understanding that there's the external meaning of Krishna's words and his internal intention. This is, can you turn the phone off? This is throughout. What's it called? Parokshvad. It's indirect meanings throughout their exchanges. They'll say one thing, but they actually mean another thing. And if you're feeling that affection and attraction, you'll understand both the meanings. So, taking the external meaning of Govinda's words, the gopis thought they indicated his lack of affection, and thus they felt dejected, even though they could fully understand with their intelligence that Krishna's unspoken words of yakta vyakyam were actually favorable. We can understand this. The back of their minds, they're thinking Krishna really loves us, of course, and he's favorable. But he's saying this for some reason. So they have to act on the external words that Krishna said. They can't pretend that he didn't say them. The gopis could not see a reason for Krishna's rough words, and they were doubtful of the hidden affection in his unspoken words. So when something is on the peripheral of the consciousness, you might have some doubt in it. So they were not sure of his unspoken words, but the words he actually said, the external words, they heard and they had to follow the hidden meanings, yeah. Due to the feelings of humility which arose from their staibhav, the gopis became morose and lost in thought. That person for whom we have neglected everything, our husbands and parents, families, our religious duties, our gravity, fear and shame, this is what they've given up, is now neglecting us because we are not good enough for him. That's how they felt. This is genuine humility. They're not good enough for him. That's how they were feeling. Just like I described with Mother Yashoda. She also felt these feelings about baby Krishna, that actually she wasn't qualified to have such a jewel of a son when he was kidnapped by Putana. When Trinavrata took him into the sky, she was feeling, I'm not actually qualified to have a son like this. This is extreme humility like this. We have to hear these descriptions many times to break our own prideful natures. Seeing their aspiration smashed to pieces, the gopis became very anxious, thinking, should we make a show of very humbly holding Krishna's feet and crying piteously, begging to remain here? Or should we try our best to remain sober, feigning aloofness, return to Braj, and somehow force our minds to stay grave? Shukadev is taking us right into the very hearts of the gopis here. Or perhaps we should just give up our lives, either in his presence or else secretly by drowning in the Jamuna or by some other means. But if we end our lives, how will we be able to see Krishna's sweet face again? Then again, how will we be able, as he has ordered us, to eat the vomit of service to our husbands and other relatives? How can we maintain ourselves? Where will we go? And what will we do? So the gopis have become completely bewildered actually by Krishna's words. It's taking them some time to process.
Sharing their emotions.
Totally, fully. The gopis were like Chataki birds upon whom Krishna poured the poison of his flute's vibration. Becoming overwhelmed, the gopis trusted him and willingly drank that poison without hesitation. Did Krishna suddenly give up his normal quality of being easily approachable? So these verses now, they continue like this. There's a progression through here, a most beautiful progression. I would encourage you all to read these verses. There's only 10 verses. I'm reading from this Artha Darshani, beautiful book of Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. And my Gurudev has spoken so much about this. But this is the second Gita, the Pranaya Gita. And this is filled with the most churning heart emotions. Huh?
Mine means affection.
Affection. Yeah. Deeper and deeper and deeper. These moods here. And this is the very beginning of the Ras Leela. Amazing. Because what actually is the conclusion of this is that Krishna becomes defeated by the strong words of the gopis have to come out of themselves now. They have to express their absolute attraction. They have to break that shyness in front of Krishna. Now Krishna has succeeded. Krishna has actually broken that boundary. So they've actually come out now. And this is the only way that Krishna would start the Ras Leela pastime, when they had fully come out of that protection by their shyness, etc. So then the incredible Ras Leela pastime begins after this Pranaya Gita. Straight after, Krishna accepts all the gopis are in circular formation, and it's a beautifully organized, incredible dance that Krishna performs with the gopis. And we can discuss that more perhaps tomorrow. We've gone quite over our time.
Once I heard from Shivan Maharaj,
Who?
Shivan Maharaj,
Bon Maharaj, yeah.
that in three conditions, Brajvasis develop Aishwarya mood in three conditions: in Dismay, in Viraha, and in Dismay, Viraha, and Vipatti. In these three conditions, there.
Just a minute, just a minute. Speak into the microphone so everyone else can hear. Speak loudly and clearly. And translate the Sanskrit so people know what you're talking about.
So I've heard from him that in three conditions, the Aishwarya Bhava of Brajvasis manifest. First in Vira means
Separation.
separation. In vipatti means something dangerous has happened in the birth. Like in sakhas, they develop sometimes Ashwara mood. And the third is Visnay. They are astonished by something. So in these three conditions, they develop this Ashwara mood. And similarly here also, gopis doesn't have that Vamya bhav. So to develop their Vamya bhav, Krishna is acting,
It's churning like this.
stimulating that
Yes.
Vamya bhav gopis.
Yes.
So and then when gopis came into Vamya bhav, then Krishna is
Not all the gopis are the same. There's the four camps of the gopis we have to appreciate. Not all of them are going to have those moods. Not all of them are going to have those moods of that Bhamyabhav. Radhika's Swapaksh gopis, they will have that mood, Lalita, Vishakha, etc. And then Shamali, her mood of Bhamya will be much, much less. And then Chandrabali's mood is Tadatmika. They are submissive, Dakshin Bhav. They don't have, because what's going to happen when Krishna does disappear, later on through a few chapters up to the reunion chapter, when he comes back, then the four different groups of gopis, they reciprocate with Krishna at that time. Like the Tadatmik, the Chandravali, she will take Krishna's hands, etc. They take different parts of his. But the Bhamya Bhav mood, they stand far away and they're very angry with Krishna. Why did you leave us like that? So yes, these considerations are here. This is coming into more of the Rasa Tattva appreciation. But when this Rasa Lila began, that was so explosive, and Krishna was dancing with every single gopi. Every single gopi was, it's described that there are two gopis on the side of Krishna, and Krishna was going so quickly around. But I wanted to discuss this tomorrow. We've gone quite across our time. I'm just usually doing an hour. So I was going to discuss the Ras Lila section more detail tomorrow, and where it comes to when Radharani, she leaves, and then all the gopis are searching for Krishna, and then the gopis, they find Radharani, and then begins the Gopi Gita. So this is an extraordinary sequence of events of the heart, of love. This is what the Gopi Gita is culminating in, this manifestation of their affection for Krishna.
People are all proud. So Krishna was showing that Radharani is actually the greatest.
Radharani herself is seeing that, why am I not being acknowledged as the pinnacle? Everything is manifesting from me. And the gopis, Shaubhagya, were feeling that supreme auspiciousness themselves. So Radharani knows also, there are many reasons actually, it's not just one or two, but there were still the different principal camps of the gopis. There's Chandravali, Shamli, Bhadra, etc. And they're all the different groups. So all these different groups have to be harmonized. And by Radhika leaving, all these, Radhika does nothing except to please Krishna. Nothing she's doing is except to please Krishna. So she's leaving so that these groups will all be harmonized. Because when they do find Radhika, ultimately, at the end, when Radhika has been left by Krishna, Hey Nata Ramana Preshta, Kwasi Kwasi Mahapuja, she's left by Krishna, and even Chandravali's heart melts in affection to witnessing the extremity of her separation mood. They were thinking how much separation they were feeling, searching for Krishna. But when they see Radhika's mood of separation, then they realize our separation was nothing compared to Radhika's. Then they all come into the one camp. Now they're all harmonious. Now actually Krishna can have the whole Ras Leela fully successfully. So we'll discuss more of this tomorrow. So I want to discuss this Ras Leela in more detail and this particular point, but we've gone quite quickly. We've sort of short-circuited it. But I want to open it out a little bit more to make us appreciate the Gopi Gita even more. It's like if you have this separation from it, hopefully because I call this series Approaching Gopi Gita. Hopefully, people are becoming, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? When some anticipation will be there. That's very good. So some hunger is coming to actually hear the Gopi Gita. So we design things like this. Krishna. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you all. Shri Prayagita ki jai, Venu-gita ki jai, Gopi Premanande. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Play it, play it. Guru Deva, Jaya. Oh Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Radha Govinda Ju ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ras Leela ki jai, Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha, Kripa Sindhavevcha, Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnava.